While many Golden Age rap artists have seemingly taken a backseat or disappeared from public view, Wu-Tang Clan's Masta Killa continues to put out great albums 2 decades since he debuted with the clan. He's one of the quieter members of the group, but his pen is just as lethal as the rest of the crew. His flow is distinctly different from the rest of the clan in that he takes a more spoken word approach, whereas the rest of them tend to ride the beat a little bit more. Through all of the ups and downs, Masta Killa has remained quite discreet and humble. If I was to choose one word to describe the story of his career in rap, I would choose patience. But before we go further, this is a small and new channel, so a sub and like would be awesome. You can also support the channel on Patreon. Anyway, back to Masta Killa. He got connected with the rest of the Wu-Tang Clan brothers at around the age of 20 through his producer friend True Master, who introduced him to the GZA. The two MCs immediately connected and spent a lot of time discussing the supreme mathematics and playing chess. At the time, Masta Killa knew that GZA rapped, but he didn't know how serious it actually was.
Even, meeting GZA, I didn't even really know who he was to the hip-hop industry. Started building, playing chess, building mathematically. Music was always there because we both fans of music. But I didn't know his history of what he had done in the industry. I didn't know he was already a cold-chilling artist. I didn't know he already had an album out. These things, what I mean? So those things, kind of came in as we continued to build.
Being a true student of chess, Masta Killa has managed to apply the patience and resilience of the game in his music releases. He waits until the right time to make the right move, never rushing. He derived his name from the kung fu film Shaolin Masta Killa, which is also known as the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. That, as you probably know, is one of the films that heavily influenced the Wu-Tang Clan. One thing to take note of is the fact that Masta Killa never originally set out to be an MC unlike the rest of the guys. So he never had a book of rhymes or extensive knowledge on MCing. He sharpened his lyrical sword, learned how to become a performer, and immersed himself into the life of an MC once he joined the Wu. He was essentially learning on the job, which is partly why he took his time to develop himself as a solo artist before dropping his first album, which was aptly named No Said Date in 2004. He was the last of the clan to drop a project, which happened 11 years after the group's debut album, Enter the Wu-Tang Clan, The 36 Chambers. He was just grateful to be a part of the movement, so he never felt like he was owed the spotlight, which is a testament to his humility. It's no secret how egotistical rappers can be, so humility is a relatively rare and often underappreciated attribute in rap. It's also interesting to note that his first appearance on a group record was on The Mystery of Chess Boxing, which has a bit of a funny backstory. According to Killa Priest on the No Said Date DVD, the story goes that while the clan was making The Mystery of Chess Boxing, there was a competition between Masta Killa and Killa Priest to see who could write the best verse and get on the record. Killa Priest apparently fell asleep, and by the time he woke up, he found that Masta Killa had already finished his verse, thereby solidifying his spot as a member of the Wu-Tang Clan. He had the least airtime on the 36 Chambers album, only appearing on The Mystery of Chess Boxing, but his verse is highly memorable, and it was the first rhyme he ever wrote, which is incredible when you think about it. In a Hot 97 interview with Rosenberg, Masta Killa pointed out that GZA helped review the verse, and ODB gave him some pointers on how to say his rhymes with attitude.
I remember when I came to GZA with my thoughts on paper as far as chess boxing, and I remember him coming to GZA's house that day, and I also let him read my thoughts. You know what I mean? He was like, "You wrote this?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "But you gotta know how to say it. You gotta say it with attitude, and you gotta get that." You know what I mean? Because he had that aura in him. You know what I mean?
Jizza played the mentor role to Masta Killa on his journey towards becoming a complete MC. He then went on to appear on various solo albums by clan members, as well as getting more airtime on subsequent group albums, including Wu-Tang Forever, The W, Iron Flag, and so on. As at the time of releasing this video, Masta Killa has released 4 solo studio albums between 2004 and 2017, which averages to roughly a new album every 3 years, so he's clearly not in a rush to put out content. He would rather take his time to craft his music than to put out lackluster content just to fulfill the audience. He has maintained his own unique style over the years despite the changing landscape in music. Today's music industry is really fast-paced. People put out music at a crazy rate. It's insane to think about how many mixtapes, albums, and singles some artists put out within a short period of time. When Forbes asked him how he feels about music today, Masta Killa said, "The game has totally changed from then to now. There's more being done outside of making music than actually making music. Now you have to be more visible, but it's what you show when you're being visible. Quality over quantity with me. Someone can put out 15 albums tomorrow. If I drop one today, my one album might be equivalent to your 15. When you think about it, the attention span with music today, I mean, it's here today and gone tomorrow." With regard to releasing his solo album so late into the game, he mentioned that it was a blessing for him. He went on to say, "I wasn't oversaturated. I still don't think people had gotten enough of me to say, okay, I know what Masta Killa is about. I've heard his rhymes, I've heard his music. I was the last person in the group to release a solo album. There was still a lot of growth and creativity that I had to give to the world that they hadn't seen from me. So I was able to give them my creativity without burning myself out. I was able to preserve a lot of my solo ideas and talent to do my thing. I wasn't able to display it. I wasn't burned out with everything else. I wasn't burned out on the business or the industry. I wasn't burned out on anything. I still feel like I'm growing." The above statements are like the punctuation marks of Masta Killa's career so far. He exercises patience, persistence, and fortitude as he grows and puts together his music, like a true swordsman. If you've ever watched those documentaries about Shaolin monks, then you know that for one to become a true master at his craft, it takes years of training, a lot of endurance, patience, and humility in order for you to reach your full potential. And that's why I love Masta Killa. He's always been about the music and not some of the crazy shenanigans that surround some of the top artists today. You can't help but respect the man for what he has accomplished musically and for his character as a human being overall. Anyway, what do you think about Masta Killa? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also support this channel on Patreon. That's it for this episode. See you next time when we re-enter the hip-hop circle.